Watch this before midnight. Not because something bad will happen if you don't. Not because this video has special power. And not because I want to scare you. But because there is a question many people avoid during the day, and it usually finds them at night. When the noise fades, when the distractions stop, when the room becomes quiet. The question is simple. How is my heart doing, really? Most people are busy from the moment they wake up. There are messages to answer, work to finish, responsibilities to carry, and problems to solve. We move from one task to another without stopping long enough to look inward. But eventually, the day ends. And when it does, we're left alone with our thoughts. Maybe that's where you are right now. Maybe you've had a long day. Maybe you're tired. Maybe you're carrying worries that no one else knows about. If that's you, then stay with me for a few minutes, because before this day ends, I want to remind you of something important. God has not forgotten you. It sounds simple, but sometimes we need to hear it again. Life has a way of making us feel overlooked. We pray and don't see immediate answers. We wait and don't see immediate change. We hope and don't see immediate results. And little by little, discouragement begins to settle in. We start asking questions. God, are you listening? Do you see what I'm going through? Have I been waiting for nothing? The Bible is filled with people who asked similar questions. David asked them. Job asked them. Even some of the prophets asked them. Faith does not mean never having questions. Faith means continuing to trust God even when the answers have not arrived yet. Tonight, before midnight comes and another day passes, I want you to remember that waiting is not the same as being abandoned. Sometimes God is working in places you cannot see. Think about a seed planted in the ground. For a while, nothing seems to happen. The soil looks unchanged, the surface looks empty. But beneath the ground, growth has already begun. Roots are forming, life is developing, preparation is happening. Your life can be like that too. Just because you cannot see movement doesn't mean God isn't moving. Just because you don't see the answer doesn't mean He isn't working on it. Some of the greatest things God does happen quietly. Not every blessing arrives with an announcement. Not every breakthrough begins with excitement. Many begin in silence. And that's why tonight matters. Not because of the clock, not because of midnight itself, but because this moment gives you an opportunity to pause, to breathe, to reflect, to reconnect with God. When was the last time you sat quietly and thanked Him? Not for the things you want, not for the prayers you're waiting on, just for who He is. Sometimes we spend so much time asking God for the next thing that we forget to appreciate what He has already done. You made it through challenges you thought would break you. You survived seasons you thought would never end. You overcame days when getting out of bed felt difficult. And somehow, God carried you through. Maybe not in the way you expected, maybe not according to your timeline, but He carried you nonetheless. That's worth remembering tonight. There's another reason I wanted to share this message before the day ends. Many people go to sleep carrying burdens they were never meant to carry alone. Regret, fear, guilt, anger, worry. They hold on to these things so tightly that they forget God is inviting them to hand those burdens over. Jesus said, "Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." Notice that He didn't say He would give rest only to the strong or only to the people who have everything figured out. He offers rest to the weary. That means you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to pretend you're okay. You can come to God exactly as you are, tired, confused, hopeful, broken, grateful. Wherever you are emotionally, God already knows, and He welcomes you. Before midnight, I want to encourage you to let go of one thing you've been carrying. Just one. Maybe it's a fear about tomorrow. Maybe it's disappointment from yesterday. Maybe it's a situation you cannot control. Give it to God tonight. Not because the problem will disappear instantly, but because your heart was never designed to carry everything alone. Trust is not about knowing exactly how things will work out. Trust is believing that God remains faithful even when you don't know what comes next. And perhaps that's the message someone needed to hear tonight. You don't need to know everything. You don't need to solve everything. You don't need to control everything. You simply need to keep walking with God one day at a time. Tomorrow will have its own challenges, but it will also have its own grace. The same God who brought you through today will be with you tomorrow. The same God who guided you before will guide you again. The same God who opened doors in the past is still able to open doors in the future. Nothing about your situation is beyond his reach. Nothing about your life is beyond his understanding. Nothing about your future is beyond his control. So before this day ends, take a moment. Be still. Take a deep breath. Thank God for bringing you this far. Release what you've been holding on to. And remember this: you are not forgotten. You are not abandoned. You are not walking alone. God is with you in the waiting. He is with you in the uncertainty. He is with you in the silence. And He is with you right now. So if you watch this before midnight, don't leave with fear. Leave with peace. Don't leave with pressure. Leave with hope. And don't leave wondering whether God sees you. He does. He always has. And He always will. Rest well tonight. Tomorrow is another day in the story. God is still writing.